Hi everybody, Huckrex here, and welcome to another episode of Thoughts from a Dystopian World, episode 20. And today in this episode, we're going to be talking about a mainstay of the American Federated States of America fleet, the A-17. It's a bomber. Yes, a bomber that's basically only useful on water, not had much use in land, because it has these wonderful things called torpedoes. Well, torpedoes don't really work on land. It can work over land, but he's got bombs. Alright, let's just talk about this thing. Alright, the FSA Bomber A-17 comes in a wonderful 60 points. So basically, it's a little more expensive than a typical cruiser like the Lexington, the light cruiser. So, yeah, you're probably better off taking a couple more cruisers instead of the bombers, but there's some versatility a little bit with the A-17. It has a defensive crew, so they attack on a 5 or 6 and defend on a 4+. So basically, they don't like leaving their aircraft. Let's put it that way. It has a minimum movement of 4 inches. All right, with 4 inches, so with a 45-degree turn limit is 1 inch. So after the initial 4-inch movement, you can make another turn after every inch. So it's once it has the initial momentum taken care of, then it can make some good turns. Now, it has a squadron size of 2 or 3, so you're looking at 120 point minimum cost if you want to bring any of these bombers into the game. So typically you're better off taking 3 of them. The old adage, 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is 2, basically. So there you go. Now, it has a DR and a CR, 5 and 6, so its damage rating, it takes 5 to do a point of damage to it. And if you hit it with 6, well, then you're going to do a CR, crit hit. So, there you go. So, it's like a flying cruiser with that aspect of it. Light cruiser, that is. It has a movement of 8, so it's kind of slow. It can close 1 range band per turn, so it's not breaking any sound barriers by any means. It's just slowly plodding along. There's ships on the water that are faster than these things. So it's a slow-moving, droning thing. It has 4 hull points, or hit points, however you want to look at it. It can take a little bit of pounding before they go circling into the drink. So, yeah, not bad. Basically, costing about 15 points per hull point. It has 4 assault points, which goes with your defensive rating. So, yeah, typically you're not going to do any type of assault across, unless for chance the target doesn't have any Marines on board. Then you say, okay, you might as well send them across and do some wonderful work. You have ACAC of 4, which is not bad. It can basically hold off some of those small air squadrons or any type of aircraft that decide to get near it, anything that's flyer. Or if they shoot rockets at them, they have a good chance of knocking them down. And if you have a squadron of 3, you're going to be combined together. Linked is 8. So 8 dice isn't bad. Does have a CC of 5. So, yeah. I really don't understand. How does something with a flyer have to worry about anything? But then I guess there could be floating mines out there. I guess if it's a floating mine, I guess you could use that against floating mines. So there is that possibility, I guess. It has a RAM rating of 2, so you have 2 dice in case somebody runs into it, each other. Then you could have a chance of maybe scratching somebody else's paint job. But, aluminum is very squishy. Okay, Now it has some weapon systems on board. It has the 4 torpedoes that shoot out the front arc, which has a 90-degree arc. Then it has a bomb which go out 2 inches with a 360-degree firing arc. So yeah, it's sort of the pack tactics kind of type thing where you get them together, 3 of them, you pick your target and send your torpedoes their direction. And they're tertiary, so you can drop those things right into the first range band on somebody and still hit. Now, going with this, it has Hunter, surface and submerged targets with the bombs, which give you a +1. So if somebody's on the surface or on land, your bombs can be dropped on that target and do some good damage. So you get a +1. And it also has a model sign rule of momentum. So if by chance this aircraft loses its ability, like let's say you get a crit where you can't move anymore, this thing will spiral in and crash. It has to keep moving, just like any type of aircraft. It can't this one can't hover, so you are stuck flying like any other aircraft. So if you lose your ability to continue moving from the engines, then it's going to crash. Alright, now it does have those 4 torpedoes, which is 90-degree arc out the front, that go out to the 3rd range band. So you have 5 dice. So if you have 3 of them in the squadron and you are in 3rd range band, you're going to throw 10 dice at them. And that's not bad. 10 dice is pretty good. And being that you're sort of flying over targets and stuff, you can fly over, say, ships, and then drop your torpedoes out to somebody at 3rd range band and throw 10 dice at them. Yeah, they're going to get their CC to counteract some of that. And, so the odds are a lot. You're going to knock some of that stuff out. But, it's one of those things where these are kind of more of a harassment type aircraft. They don't really start getting good until they can start dropping their bombs on somebody's head. And then they just do indiscriminate attacks with their big templates. Now, if by chance you get into the 2nd range band, you're throwing 12 dice. And if you get into real close and nobody's taking damage or anything of that nature, you're going to be throwing 14. That's good. If you can basically fly this aircraft over top of, say, a small squadron, let's say frigates, hit them with the bombs, and then target, let's say, heavy cruisers, battle cruisers, battleships, or dreadnoughts, or carriers, or any of that nature, and then hit them with the torpedoes, so much the better. You fly over one target, unleash the bomb load on them, and then send out your torpedoes in a nice spread. That's basically how I always use these guys. And you're always like setting them up on, I always set mine up on the flanks instead of towards the middle someplace, and then try to angle them in, because eventually somebody's going to be close enough, to hit them with the torpedoes, or you're going to use the bombs on them. And most of the time, you're always going to run into somebody's frigates or corvettes or even destroyers eventually first, and then hit them with the bomb runs and knock out their screens. You use one massive indiscriminate attack, because this has surface Hunter with the bombs. Instead of 5s and 6s, you're hitting on 4s. That's pretty good. And everybody that's under the template is going to take 8 dice. So 8 dice on a frigate with an indiscriminate attack hitting on a 4, they're done. They're going to be a done dinner. You're definitely going to do enough damage to do at least 1 or 2 points of damage and taking them out. And I've done it repeatedly with these things. This is where its strong point comes in, is getting them close enough to hit them with the bombs. And the torpedoes are the icing on the cake type deal. They're the first things you're going to use. with your torpedoes, is, you know, hitting targets with the torps. But eventually those bombs are going to be dropping on somebody's head. And if they by chance decide to, all right, we got to knock those bombers out, and they start shooting at them, well, if they're shooting at one target, they're not shooting at another. So it's not like you're losing a lot of firepower with these guys. You know, in a lot of games, you're typically usually running with a little more firepower coming out of a, let's say, your cruisers, but you know, it works out pretty good. So that's pretty much it. That's how I use the A-17s in most battles. They get out there, they do their job. You know, they're nothing to write home about. You know, they're not really overly exciting when it comes to these aircraft, but it's one of those things where you look at your what you're going to do with them, and then you just go with it. Stick with kind of like a attack plan. And like I said, I always typically, there's been early in when we first started playing the game, I would have, it's like, I think I got 4 squadrons of these things. I think I got 12 of them. And the whole reason is that I can go out there and just hit somebody on the flanks. And early when we first started playing, there wasn't a lot of other you had your basic stuff you got out of the box sets, and this is one of the things you got out of the box set. Or you could pick up a blister of extra bombers, and which was interesting. You got 2 in the box set, and you could buy a blister of them and get 3. So eventually, I ended up buying blisters of them, and then those that came in the box set is like, oh, I'll paint this box set up, and then sell it, and then keep adding to the other ones to my fleet. So I had a massive squadron formation. You know, you'd have 6, 9, or 12 of these things come flying up on the flank and hit somebody. That's continuously hammering somebody with a lot of torpedoes. It wears them down pretty quickly. All right, that's it. That's the A-17 Bomber in a nutshell. It's not bad, not great. It's kind of aged a little bit with the game as it advanced past where it used to be. But, you know, that's just the nature of the beast. Things that come later always seem to have all the bells and whistles. All right, I hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe and share with all your friends. And we will talk to you later.